Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Be Salty podcast. I'm so grateful that you all have taken time out your day to tune in and listen to this conversation today. This is going to be a spicy one. I'm really excited about this because I feel like it's a subject that we don't typically talk about. However, it's definitely necessary, and especially like it's what June. It's the month. It's Father's Day, and although every male out here may not be a father, we're going to expand outside the boundaries of fatherhood and just talk about men in general. I have a special guest with me today, Caro. Would you go ahead
Hey,
and introduce yourself? Tell us something about yourself, other than the fact that you are like pretty vocal on my page, and I appreciate that, by the way.
um, I'm just a regular guy who tries to take pride in thinking for myself, creating independent thoughts, and not just moving according to how society expects us to move and behave. Um, that's a big deal for me, just being an independent thinker, coming to my own conclusions about stuff and being vocal and standing behind whatever it is that I believe.
You know what though? That's a good quality to have. Like that's an awesome quality to possess because oftentimes I feel like people go along to get along. You know, they looking for what sound good versus putting themselves to the challenge of thinking like for themselves and saying, okay, well, you know what, that might not work for me. I think I'm gonna choose to do something different. So I'm appreciative of you being a free thinker.
I
Um,
appreciate you.
so let's talk about it. Today I posted a question, and the question was, how can we as women provide a safe place for men? And I really would like to hear what you responded.
So I don't remember my response verbatim, but
Okay.
I do know that I mentioned something along the lines of, a woman should not repeat anything that a man says to her. If you're in a relationship situation, whatever it is you got going on, you're engaging with a man, you shouldn't repeat anything that y'all talk about to another person, man or woman, outside of your house. That's y'all business. Y'all work it out. Y'all sort it out. I know that was one big thing. Another thing was,
Well, before you go over to the next thing, I wanted to talk about that because I actually was jotting down some things that kind of permeated my thinking process, and one of those things was like we as women should be covering versus exploiting, and that's kind of like what you're saying. Like when we are given that space, when men are to give us that space to actually divulge, their vulnerable things that they feel when things get tight, there's not an opportunity to exploit the man. Like, what does that do to you as a man when that occurs?
it makes a man crawl into a shell. That's what it does. It lets them know that this ain't it for me. And a man, a lot of men typically stick around even when they realize that this isn't a good move for me. But they stick around because of the other things the woman may possess, whether it be, oh, she's loving, or I've been with her for a while, or we got kids, or whatever the case may be. He sticks around when he shouldn't, but he knows like this isn't it. And what happens more often than not is he starts to seek that safety somewhere else.
That's interesting. That's interesting. What was your part two of what else you shared with us?
Um, I don't know if I put it on there, but I know that it's very important for a woman to understand her own biases towards men. You got to know yourself as a woman first. So, for example, if you are a woman who thinks internally that men are cheaters or liars or whatever the case may be, you got to be aware of that when you're trying to interact and engage with your man, because you're looking at him, you may love him, like him, or whatever, but you still have this bias that men are liars no matter what. So when he's talking to you, if you feel like he's lying, you're going to handle him accordingly. And that's not safe for him or for you.
I mean that's a thing, but those traumas that you're talking about that we carry into a new relationships, both the man and the woman can possess these traumas, right? So when
Mm-hmm.
let's kind of like look at it from another perspective. When we as women, when we do the work and we're healed and we're whole and we walk into a relationship, or we agree to be in a relationship, and this man is coming and he may have unresolved trauma, or he may still deal with some things that may not allow him to be vulnerable, but the space is there. We as let me just say, I as the woman, I have created this space for you as a man to express yourself. I feel like I've given you the ability to trust me. It's a sacred place, it's a safe space. And then, because of things that you have dealt with, you won't allow yourself to get past that point to where you can actually let your guard down, and then now you can be in that safe place for me. Like, how do we as a woman work with you when the situation is as such?
Being patient,
Okay.
being understanding, showing empathy towards men experiences. Don't try to negate or downplay our experiences just because we're men. We're expected to just deal, with whatever life throws at us. That's a big deal. Is empathy. We don't get enough empathy from some women, not all women. Some women don't show empathy at all. Like, they really do not care what we went through, what we've been through, what we're going through currently. It's about, okay, yeah, but what about me? It's a selfish mentality from some women, not all women, but from some women. Um, Another thing that I did mention on your page was the fact that some women like to keep things and they weaponize it at a later date. Meaning, if I come to address an issue that I have with you personally, I say, hey, you did this or you said that and it made me feel this way. Instead of addressing the issue on the table, you come back and say, well, I remember that one time you did this, a few months ago, and I didn't even say nothing. Okay, well, if you didn't say nothing then, why are you saying something now?
Point taken. No, point taken.
Like, okay, it was cool. Obviously, it didn't bother you that much because you didn't bring it to my attention. So clearly, it was cool until I pointed out a defect in you, and now you're like, okay, well, what about you?
Yeah.
And that's harmful. That's not a safe space at all.
It's probably the presence of condemnation in there. Now that you have addressed the issue with me, I'm going to condemn something about you so we can be on the same playing field. And so, what we can do as women, I personally believe, is we can somehow or another like remove the hurdles that we have unintentionally created, something that we're used to, a routine, a thing, and we can display love in those particular areas. Like, I think that one of the major components of allowing a man to be able to come to us and open up is that feeling of, okay, if I say something, I'm not going to get a rebuttal, like, okay, me too type of thing.
Hmm. Yeah,
um
that's very important.
I came from a place of where um I was in an abusive relationship, right? And
Hmm.
so my main struggle was, okay, when I get into a new relationship, like, not how do I not how do I not bring that into this, right? How do
Hmm.
I keep from blaming that man, this current man, for what a previous man did, right? And so, although I went through the stages of what I feel like therapy and things of that nature, one of the struggles that I have is, I believe, because I'm a woman and I'm a nurturer, like, I feel like I want to, maybe I overdo it, right? Is that something that can potentially make a man kind of like back from wanting to, I guess, express himself fully?
A man who is insecure and still needs to work on himself and understand and accept his masculinity, yeah, that's a personal issue on the man. It's a lot of men who are insecure. You see it all day on social media.
Yeah.
You got men who are out here talking about, hey, I would never let a woman um pay for my meal if we went out. Like, that doesn't discredit you as a man. You know, your woman knows that you're a man. She's your woman. She accepted you as a man. You have to understand that you're a man too. And you just have to be consistent with your behavior. So a woman doing feminine things, which I put that in your question about, what's femininity.
Yeah.
Being a nurturer, stuff like that, being caring, compassionate, that's what women are supposed to do. You're doing your job. I don't think that you can overdo something like that. Like, oh, I care too
Well. What
much,
happens
or
is sometimes I feel like you can have a space of where men don't know how to accept help, or they don't know how to accept that nurturing. So I feel like that can be a component that takes away from. You could tend to shy away. So then it creates that component of, okay, maybe this is not a, maybe I'm not creating a safe enough space.
well, I think that you got to be consistent. As a woman. You can't, I don't think the correct reaction is to back away and shut down. It's like, well, I'm just not going to do that because I see the reaction that he gave me when I did it. So
Mhm.
I'm doing something wrong. It's not that you're doing something wrong. If you know that you're doing something right, the correct response is to continue to do that. Now, you may say, well, I'm not going to do it as much. I'm trying to spoon feed him basically
Mhm.
until he realizes and accepts, like, hey, I'm trying to help you. I'm in your corner. I got your back. I'm not your enemy. You don't have to lash out at me for trying to treat you right. I didn't do it to you. But again, that's a man who entered into a relationship not fully prepared to be in a relationship. And we all do it, men, women, whatever. We jump into something because we think that I can handle it. Or I can, not let the past overlap into my present. And we really can't. It
Yeah.
just feels good in the moment. We meet somebody, we think that they're cute or charming or whatever the case may be, and we jump on in unprepared. We all have a plan for what if it goes bad, but we never have a plan for what if it goes right.
That's good. That's good. That's good stuff. I see a response here that says sometimes we can confuse nurturing with mothering.
I don't think that and this is my own personal opinion, I'm not gonna try to attempt to speak for all men. I don't think that I will ever confuse nurturing with mothering.
No,
The
we
only
we as women, we as women,
oh
we as
oh
women probably confuse nurturing with mothering. I think that's a thing. I
I
think that's the
it
thing. I think
it
we have to take a step back and have those boundaries of, okay, this is to help my partner, but this is not to parent them, so to speak. And it's a fine line in there. It's a
it
very
is.
fine line in there.
You don't want to coddle a man.
Right.
You want to give him a chance to be a man. You want to, let him go ahead and walk on his own, take the training wheels on, like, all right, baby, you got it. And, you let him fall a little bit, but you still have to be there, you
Yeah.
know? So it's a similar, it is a fine line because it's similar. I mean, you give your man the chance to take the lead in the household, for example, and he crashed y'all into a bad
Yeah.
situation, say with finances or whatever. You can't just sit back and let him continue to be the man and lead if he's not leading properly. I'm
Right.
not saying run away from him and leave him, but you might have to be like, hey, look, let me go ahead and drive a little bit. You get up here, you tired. You get in the passenger seat for a while, and I'll just take over from here. If he's a man, he'll respect it. He say, yeah, you know what? I've been fucking up. Let me go ahead and let you handle this. So yeah.
That's good. That's good stuff. I was listening to this message today, and I'm gonna read what I heard the man say, and I thought it was so fitting to what we're talking about, and it resonated with me so much. So he said men have needs too, right? He said,
Hmm.
are we in an epidemic of hungry men? Men craving for something that meets a God given need, not saying what you're craving is godly, right? And he said, not all men are hungry because they're malfunctioning their hunger, but it's because they can also be malnourished. And I was like, okay, woo. that was a lot because I feel like sometimes, not all of us, but at different stages of our lives, we as women, as we evolve and we grow, we before we get to that point, we could put all the blame on men, right? We can say,
Hmm.
well, he not doing this and he not doing that, and if you were a man, you would, or your responsibility is to provide and protect, and we could say all these things, but if we're not giving the man what he needs in that moment, or not even just in that moment, just completely fulfilling a man from what we as women are supposed to do in our help meet stage, if we're not doing our part, like I feel like we can lack in that area, and what that man is hungering for, like he'll go out and get it. and he'll go out and get it, and we'll blame him for going out and get it. But a man that is malnourished or a man that is in consistent hunger is a man that's not going to be focused, is a
Right.
man that is not going to function. And we're quick to say like, oh, he don't know what he wants in life, or something is he's unclear about this, or he's unclear about that. But the fact of the matter is, like, when a man has what he needs, does he seek elsewhere? Or not
Right.
even just needs, desires, and wants.
It's got to be everything. It's got
Yeah.
to be everything because a woman can give a man everything that he needs, and think that, hey, hey, I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. Nothing more, nothing less. It's almost like a job,
Yeah.
you know. But if he's not getting his wants that you can, I'm not saying something that's out of your range you can't even provide. I'm saying things that are within reach that you can provide, and you're not giving it to him as a woman. Yeah, he's going outside to go get that.
Yeah.
He may or may not run it by you to give you a chance. I mean, ideally, in a perfect world, he would run it by you and say, "Hey, baby, you know what? I really would like this from you,"
Right.
and give you a chance to provide that, so you wouldn't be in the dark. But this goes back to the original topic of the safe space. If he has tried to do something like that in the past, and he was met with "What about you?" or whatever, and then he found out it wasn't, he's not running anything by you no more. It's over.
Right. Right.
So that's why it's important to have a safe space for both sides.
Absolutely, but we're talking about men today. and
Okay. I
I,
just want
and
to beat
you
them
know what?
to
It's
it because I know it's
interesting.
coming.
It's interesting that you said that though, because I was just gonna say that thing. Like, a man is gonna go and try to fill that void, but if we provide that safe space to allow a man to say what needs to be said, like what that 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 thing that he may share with his homeboy, or that thing that he may share with his mom, or that thing he may share with his dad, like if he can also do that, or if he can solely do that in the household, like it seems to me like that would create like such a healthy relationship.
It would. Um, but a lot of women don't understand that. A lot of women don't understand that concept. They don't understand letting a man, be vocal. They don't like the idea of being in the hot seat. No matter how you try to tell a woman, hey, you're not doing something right, or you're not doing something good enough, or whatever it may be, it's an attack. They don't know how to handle it. And this is the reason why the girlfriend experience is so popular amongst sex workers. That's literally a
Explain.
whole the girlfriend experience. These are women who deal with men who are professional, make lots of money, whatever, and they pay them for a girlfriend experience. Meaning, this man, maybe he works a high demand job. He's a millionaire, multimillionaire, whatever. He literally hires a girl for a day, a night, a weekend, a week, a month, whatever. She goes out on dates and everything. They do have sex or whatever, but she also listens to him. And he can tell her anything and everything, and she listens. She doesn't say, well, yeah, but I've had a long day. I was at home with the kids all day, and my day was bad. She's like, no, it's all about you, baby. Let me hear it, let it out. And he does that, and he feels good. She holds his hand, she, rubs his head, rubs his back. Damn, baby, I'm sorry you had a long day. Man, the world is cruel. Let me come on, come give me a hug. Whatever. The girlfriend experience is literally a paid slot on the menu with sex workers, and it's been around for a very long time. And very, very so-called high-value men, they purchase that.
Interesting. I've never heard of that before, ever. I guess I've been in the dark. I've
Yeah,
never heard that before, but it definitely makes sense. Like, if you could have that type of girlfriend experience in your actual girlfriend, or that girlfriend experience in your wife, like that sounds like to me a win-win.
yeah. You could put sex workers out of business, but business is booming for them.
But the fact of the matter is like when that man comes to you and he's trying to open up, like we have to be careful of not judging him. I remember it was a while back, maybe sometime last year in the group, someone actually posted in the group. It was an anonymous post, and the guy said that he was struggling, that he was married, and he was struggling with cheating on his wife. He was like, I have not cheated, but that I have a strong urge there, right? And he
Hmm.
was like, I don't want to do it. Like, I love her. right? But he posted in the group, he was like, but I don't know what to do, right? So my thought was, talk to her about it. Like that was the
Mhm.
first thing I thought. This is the person that you're saying you love and you're struggling with the problem, and this is y'all are in a marriage. Like y'all should be able to discuss this. But the more and more we talked about it, the more people were saying, like, how many women are gonna allow their husband to come to them and say, I'm struggling with cheating, like with the urge to cheat. They have not cheated, but
Right.
struggling with the urge to cheat, and I need help.
You're right, because all she's gonna hear is I cheated.
Or I
That's how a
want to
woman's gonna
cheat.
take that.
I want to
She
cheat.
gonna she gonna hear I cheated. There's this girl. She gonna feel like you got a girl already lined up. You already know who you gonna cheat with and everything. You know what I'm saying? That's how she's gonna hear it. Now somebody should make a an animated video about that, like what a man says versus what a woman actually hears. It's two different things. You know, be like, hey, baby, I thought about it. Oh, so you cheated? You might as well go be with that bitch. He's like, I didn't say that. I said I thought about it, baby, but I didn't do it. You know, and that's just how it go. Some women don't really listen to men unless it's something in their favor.
Well, we're going to try to normalize that because it's so necessary. I think that when both people in the relationship hold a healthy balance with each other and allow that space to be able to be free and open and honest and be able to understand that some things that are going to be communicated might sting a little bit, but it's so necessary to be able to, work together. Like I really and truly feel like we will have more lasting relationships. I think that most people will be a little more comfortable not to run or not to end relationships when they realize, hey, I can come to you and I can talk to you about anything, and I don't have to be concerned about the backlash of things.
Right. Nobody wants
That's
to
just
be
my thought.
judged. I mean, we all have to, treat it like alcohol, not the Hennessy alcohol, the rubbing alcohol.
Mm.
You get a nice cut, scratch or whatever. Nobody wants to put that alcohol on, but we know that it works. It hurts for a minute, but it's good for you. It cleans everything up for you. You start the healing process and you're good. That's how relationships go. It hurts to be in a hot seat. Somebody telling you, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. Nobody wants to be in the hot seat. It stings. But once you get past that, y'all can start the healing process, just like alcohol. Boom, and you good.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So I'm gonna tell you this: the other side of well, hold on, let me see this comment. It says, I don't think women want a good man anymore. A man who works, comes home, don't hang in the streets, spend most of the time with her, has his own place, cars, and who is honest and caring. And I can't see who the person is while I'm not logged into the Facebook, but I can say this: women do want that. Women, we can't blanket a certain demographic under one blanket, right? There are
Hmm.
women and there are men who actually want healthy relationships. Like everybody is not out here just self sabotaging, wanting to be in a relationship with self, right?
Right.
Um, I think that one thing we need to focus on is taking it one step at a time, making sure that we ourselves are in a position to where we're healthy, happy, and whole with who we are before we try to join with another person. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I want to add on to your response to his statement. Um, a lot of these niggas out here be lame. Like you gotta have those things that you mentioned, fam. Plus you gotta have some personality with it. Yeah, that resume of I got a car, a crib, and a job or whatever, no kids, all this and that. That's cool, passport, whatever. But you still gotta be a fun person, fam. Like you
Yes,
gotta be able
yes.
to engage with a woman. So you wondering why she with Bobby who got 6 baby mamas and he sell dope or he was in and out of jail, whatever. You wondering how did she pick him over me? Well, Bobby knew how to have a good time. Bobby has some spunk in him. You lame. You can't be lame. You trying to deal and entertain a woman. Women want, you gotta catch their attention. You gotta be cool to be with. And unfortunately, you can't get these things in school. School
Yeah.
don't teach you that. Your job didn't give you that on the job when you went to training and orientation on how to deal with women. That's a whole nother skill set. So yeah, you can
Say
have all
that.
these things and still be considered a lame guy. And that's just what I mean. It's women like that too. Like it's women out here who have everything going for them, but they so lame, so boring to be around. It's like, man, nobody trying to, be you super modest. You ain't trying to get loose in the bed or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody got time for that. Yeah, you do check off all these boxes. I'm independent. I ain't got no kids. I do this. I do that. Okay, yeah, but you lame, shorty. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Well, and I think it goes back to, for me, I would say I do want somebody who can have a good time, but I want somebody who can also meet my emotional needs, emotional intelligence. You want somebody who can sit down and have a conversation. Like, yes, you can have all the tangible things or the superficial things rather, but at the root of things, are you a good person? Do you treat women nice, or do you treat them right? For me, do you believe in God? It's just like, it's other things that go into a woman wanting a man, other than the things that they can get themselves, right? Or
Right.
other than the things that money can buy. It's just a lot of women actually want to just have a genuine solid man that just knows, what, this man have my back. If I want to get up and I want to go travel, this man wants to travel. We have like interests. It's just more than just being able to pay some bills.
Right. That's what a lot of people don't understand. You
Yeah.
got to have that certain bone in your body, and a lot of men don't have that. They're just shooting for a car, a job, and a place, and they're like, "Ha, I'm gonna get all the women once I get this." You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I see the chef comment saying we're not supposed to be entertainment. Well, if you ain't entertaining your shorty fam, then who is?
When you say entertain, what exactly are you meaning?
However, I mean, whatever that looks like for the individual woman.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, your entertainment, if you like to travel, for example, hey, I want a man want to get up and go with me. I want to travel. That's your thing. Another woman may like to play board games, or she may like to go to the movies, or walk to the park, or go do a wine tasting. Whatever it is, you have to be entertainment. It's a job. Being in a relationship is a full-time job. It's not just, I'm gonna pay all these bills and carry the load because I'm the man. You're not a machine, fam.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have another side. You got to have layers like an onion, fam. You got to be multifaceted. If you don't understand that, you know what I'm saying? I highly suggest that you get into that like ASAP, because you're going to lose your shorty. You're not going to keep a shorty like that. You know what I'm saying? You have to know how to entertain a woman.
Well rounded. This person says, I see a lot of nice women go straight for the bums. They won't work, no car, live in the crib, etc. So the good men are like, I must have to quit my job and sell my car to get a good woman. I would have to caution even making that type of decision. Like, I mean, cast a wider net, or go to a different pond, because quitting your job to appease, and I know that that's probably just a figure of speech you're using, but this person is using, but quitting your job to be like, that's the go along to get along mentality. For me, I personally feel like that if you're struggling to get a woman, or if you're struggling to get a man, cast a wider net.
Quit leading with this house, car, and the job. Quit leading with that. What you need to do is look at, okay, you're looking at this guy that you just lost. Y'all both was competing for the same woman. You got the house, the car, and the job. He don't got any of those things. What you need to do is examine him some more and say, well, what is it that he does have that I don't have? Because that's what you're missing. That's what she wants. You're not understanding women. All women are not materialistic. She probably already has a house, a car, and a job before she even meets you. So that's not what she's looking for, is a house, a car, and a job. She can get her own transportation. She got her own house. It's things like Kendra said that are intangible. She's not looking to move in your house and drive your car and let you go to work. So clearly, the bum provided that missing link that she needed, whether that be good sex, whatever it is that she needs that she can't provide for herself. And that's what you need to focus on. You need to learn your prey. Women talk about men being hunters. A hunter knows how to set a trap according to the animal that is hunting. You don't set a lion trap for a rabbit, for example. So when you have your eyes on a woman, you need to understand, okay, take all this other stuff off the table, learn her, talk to her, and see what it is that I can provide that she's missing. Because that's what the bum is doing. The bum is talking to her because he ain't got nothing to lose. So he talking and he taking notes, okay, and he's looking for that missing link. He like, oh, I can get in this way. and he wins, and you like, damn, how did I lose? Because you didn't do your homework, man. You're not being a good hunter. You land the wrong traps for the wrong prey. That's all it is.
Okay, good perspective. I'm gonna shift gears a little bit because I wanted to get back to this men and the safe place. And I also watched another show, and in this show, they talked about women are always known as creatures of emotions or emotional creatures, and we're always in our feelings, so to speak. But let's talk about y'all moody men, right?
Mm-hmm.
Men are very moody. Y'all will come in the house on Monday kissing and hugging, and you want to lay out the red carpet, and then Tuesday you coming in quiet as a church mouse, as they like to say. Or y'all will, one day you talkative and the next day you a mute. Like, how it's confusing. It's confusing behavior for us. So while we are working hard to provide this safe space for you all, like, how do we read this confusing, moody behavior that y'all have?
You can't read it because you're probably gonna read it wrong 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10. The only thing you can do is try to communicate with the man and hope that the man you're dealing with is open to communicate. So, hey, baby, like, what's wrong? Yesterday you was like this, today you're like that. Call him out on it, hold him accountable. And hopefully, in a perfect situation, he'll say, "Yeah, babe, well, I was out at work, man. This happened, or I was at the store and this happened. Or I got a phone call and this happened, and that's the reason for my mood change." Again, if he recognizes, I'm not gonna say if he has, because you can give a man a safe space and he may not recognize it. So if he recognizes that he has a safe space, he'll tell you. But if he doesn't recognize, or if he doesn't feel like there's a safe space, he ain't about to tell you nothing. He just gonna be like, "I'm good. It ain't nothing much. I'm straight." So it goes back
Okay,
to this
so
safe space.
well, I mean, and so Chef D says again, it's not safe. We probably had a day that he's not comfortable discussing with you. So that's the part that we're trying to get to. How can we provide this level of comfortability to where you actually feel like when you come home, when you drive in that driveway, you don't have to sit in the car for 45 minutes to an hour before you walk in the house with your woman.
Well, I think that a woman should, if a man verbalizes, baby, yeah, something's going on. I don't want to talk about it right now. I think she should respect that because he's telling you what's
Right?
going on
Right?
that end. So you say, well, look, you can talk to me. You say, I know I can, but I don't want to talk about it right now because I may not verbalize it the right way, and maybe it's something personal. Maybe it's something to do with her, and he don't want it to come off the wrong way or whatever it is. And he like, look, let me go ahead and sort this out, and we'll circle back to this tomorrow or whenever. So yeah, I think if a man says that much, I feel like that should be sufficient. He said,
Yeah,
"Hey,
if that is communicated, that is sufficient, because I'm sure that is something that will be tabled and then communicated at a different time. But if you walk in the door and you're mute, right? At this point, I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? Am I supposed to be Mother Teresa and I Sister Mary pray hard and pray, or do I be a city girl and try to turn up in here just to get you, change the mood or something? Like, we don't know.
I think just ask him. Just ask him. Hey, baby, what's wrong? You all right? Do you want to talk? Just be. That's as straight as you can be. Do you want to talk?" And he like, "No." All right. Well, I asked. I tried. I tried. Well, hey, so when you ready to talk, I'm here. Just let me know.
Good,
Do
good.
you want something to eat or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Or you already ate before you got this? All right. I mean, I'll give you space. Let me know when you're ready to engage. I'm not gonna push the issue because I don't want to piss you off even more. I don't know what's going on. So I feel that's all a woman can do is that little bit right there, and just leave it
Okay.
at that.
Okay. Someone says when we say we don't want to talk about it right now, in most cases, the women immediately make it about her. I hate to say it, but that's so true. I've been in that space to where I've been like, oh, so you don't want to talk to me, type of thing. I've been there. I feel like I've grown past that. Thank you, Jesus. But I've been there. That's to me, that's a growth. That's a maturity thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a case by case with the woman.
So let's see here. Chef D says, stop reacting to our statements as if the world is coming to an end. If I complain about my job, it doesn't mean I'm gonna lose it or quit. It just means I didn't have a good day and don't want to, and I don't want to direct. Understood. Understood. Understood.
But as a man too, Dedrick, if a woman, you gotta pay attention to how a woman reacts to some of your statements, because if she reacts to something like, "Hey, I had a bad day at work," and she starts panicking like, "Oh, you lost your job, or you about to quit, or whatever," I would be very leery of a woman who like overreacts on something like that,
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, so
That's
you're
trauma.
more concerned about you ain't really concerned about me. You concerned about what am I gonna do if you
Yeah.
lose your job or you quit? What am I supposed to do? So I
Yeah.
would be leery of a woman's reaction anyway on something like that.
Yeah, I mean that's an opportunity for us to. I feel like if it's something like that that someone is going through with work, like I really now I've grown to the point to where okay, let me just give this right here just needs time. It just needs space. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
when he works through, you know, whatever emotions he's feeling about this particular situation, he'll circle back. You know, he'll circle back, and this will be a conversation that we'll be able to have while he's in a different emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's something that we as women have to really hone in on is give things time. Like everything is not to be discussed while you're actively going through it.
Right.
So I think we should probably take that into consideration. But this person says, yes, thank you, Kendria. But Chef D, that's the problem. Most men would rather not talk about it until weeks or months later and never. Are we damn if we do and damn if we don't?
Mm-hmm.
We don't say nothing.
I
That
mean, it's
that's a
really
lot.
it's
That's a lot of internalizing.
yeah, it's not much more that a woman can do. If the man ain't talking, he just ain't talking. I mean, that's all you can do.
Yeah.
So if he say let's circle back and he never circles back, you can bring it up again, the next day, next week, whatever. Hey, so did you ever get that sorted out? You had something irritating you? And if he give you another cold shoulder, then it's like, well, I don't know. Y'all got some, he got some issues because for whatever reason, he's just not feeling comfortable talking to you. He may not want to talk to anybody. He's just not feeling comfortable talking
Yeah.
about it. And that's something he has to sort out as a man.
Yeah. So
So
what would you say to the man who is struggling with communicating? Like a man that's it's not just a girlfriend thing or a her thing. It's a thing that he struggles with just in general. Like a man that just does not know how to clearly communicate his emotional intelligence.
he got to do some work. He
What
got to
type
do
of work?
some work, some self work. He needs
Give me
to
some examples.
understand, like, you can't be in a relationship and not be communicating. You can't treat your shorty like she's somebody you on the street. If you can't talk at home, I mean, where can you talk? It's cool if you don't want to talk to your homeboys, your mama, your kids, whatever. But you got to talk to your shorty. And even if you figure, I'm looking at this comment right here. Even if you have figured it out, why you can't tell your shorty what's up then? You came to a conclusion. Okay, this was bothering me. I had a problem, and I figured out a solution. Why you can't run it by her? So hey, the other day when I was upset, this is what it was, but I got it figured out now, baby. So we good. So now she can take it off her radar. Like, I don't got to circle back to this no more. He got it figured out. Cool. Why is it so hard to say that much then?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Uh, the conversation is about creating a safe space. If the general consensus is that most men don't want to communicate, there's a general reason. Does anyone have an actual solution to how we can move forward? Well, you go ahead. You want to take that? Are you?
So it's not. I don't think that most men don't want to communicate. I think they just want to be able to communicate and be okay, not be judged or ridiculed or have their masculinity attacked.
Right.
For expressing some, or like, a man may say something. A man comes in, he gives you the cold shoulder, he's shut down, and then he finally tells you what it is, and you like, that little bitty shit. That's what was wrong. You see what I'm saying? You minimize his experience. It may be small to you, but to him it was a big deal. You know what I'm saying? So I think it goes back to the original topic of the safe space. And again, yes, some women can provide a safe space, and the man may not recognize that safe space, and so he's not engaging still because he doesn't recognize. And again, it's nothing the woman can do on that end because that's something he has to figure out.
Yeah,
All you can do is what you can
it's
do.
really a two-edged sword. So to that question there, I don't think that you can just say we can come up with an actual solution and just move forward, because it didn't take coming up with something just this quick to get it to where it is, right? We have to be self-aware of what is actually going on, right? We have to be self-aware of our actions and how we communicate with others and how we allow people the ability to see, to feel a safe space. And then once we have provided that safe space, I think we have to allow that other person to function in that safe space till they actually feel safe. Not I don't just provide the safe space and say, hey, here's the safe space, and then automatically that person feels safe. I think that I provide that space, and then once that person is maneuvering in that space, they'll be able to determine whether or not that space is safe or not, right? And
Yeah.
it's gonna vary per person, right? It's gonna vary per relationship. I mean, it just depends. Some men are, like we said, they moody too. It's not just us.
Absolutely.
but but men are they're simple but not, right? And so once you study, once you pay attention, once you learn the individual that you're with, then you'll be able to effectively know the things that need to take place so that person or that individual feels safe.
Yeah. It's really gonna be on a case by case basis.
Yeah,
It's gonna be no one size fit all solution
right.
because you're gonna have different men that fit in these slots and different women that come into these slots. So you just gotta deal with it on a case by case basis and just kind
But
of go
there
from
are
there.
certain components. There are certain components that will go across the board that will fit every
Absolutely.
situation. And that's making sure that there's no judgment, there's no condemnation, that it's not a situation of retaliation, that when things are being said, that you're actually listening to hear what this person is saying and actually asking questions. Like, I think that sometimes when we get into conversation, we're looking to respond or react versus asking questions. Asking questions provides the ability for clarity, and once you get clarity on what someone is actually saying, then you can effectively try to manage your responses.
Yeah. So yeah, the safe space is gonna look pretty similar across the board. The safe space that's created by a woman is gonna look similar from relationship to relationship.
Yeah. How do you feel about this comment that a lot of men were not grown in a household where their feelings are validated, so it carries over to adulthood?
That's true. But again, that's on the man. There's nothing a woman can do to adjust the man on that end. He has to adjust himself. He has to recognize that and say, okay, this is an issue. I need to solve that. Probably before he gets into a relationship with a woman, but usually they don't. But at the very least, he should be able to communicate that to the woman and say, hey, so here's why I behave the way I behave. This is my childhood, this happened to me or whatever. Like me, I always reference that I've been in prison for a long time. So look, I did 17 and a half years in the penitentiary, maximum security. I did fair time. I did state time. I've been all over. So when a woman is engaging with me, if she sees a behavior, she feels it's abnormal, she can use that as a reference as, oh yeah, he did tell me he was locked up. So she's not in the dark
And she
or
can
she's
use
not
it as a
making it
positive and not as a negative.
right. And she's not automatically assuming it's something that she did. She can say,
Right.
well, that probably come from when he was in prison or he grew up in a crack house or whatever the case may be.
That's
So
good
yeah,
stuff.
man has to communicate.
That's good stuff. I posted this question. What makes you feel as though you're in a safe space? I posted it on Instagram as well, and I just wanted to share some of the feedback that I got. This is from men, right, who
Hmm.
communicated like, how can you make them feel safe or that they're in a safe space? And the responses I got were attentiveness and relationship with God, paying attention to my needs, likes, passion, affirming me along the way, love and care, active listening and giving feedback, allowing me to be myself. That's major. Allowing somebody to be themselves. Um, Being there for me, validation. That's what I can think about for now. It's hard to say, but I will think feeling loved and cared for, not just the superficial stuff, but true love and care. That complete unconditional love and standing. And the last one says, knowing that a person I am giving my all to is doing the same and that they appreciate me just as much as I appreciate them. So
Man,
that was men, ladies, that are on here. If you are watching live or you are watching a replay, those are some things that some of the men shared on Instagram. Of course, there are men in the comments here that have shared information as well. We as women have, I think we have a responsibility to create some togetherness, to grow, to evolve, to try and look at our mate, if whether we're married or whether we're dating, look at that person and try to create a situation of where we're actually learning this person, and that we can take the things that we have gathered and actually funnel them down to a situation of where we're creating a safe space. The last comment that I'm reading here says, every conversation doesn't have to be a back and forth battle. He or she often gets defensive. I think a good start would be to simply have a conversation without always trying to prove who is right or wrong or devalue feelings. And that is one of the things that we have discussed on tonight. Just being able to be in a position of listening and not always responding, taking away that notion of when somebody is talking, you already in your mind are looking for a response. If we can focus on taking a step back, actually listening to the person that we're speaking to, I think that'll work wonders. Did you have anything to say before we close out tonight?
no, I mean everything is pretty much covered. The comments from the guys on Instagram was pretty valid. I can't add anything else to that. I believe I said pretty much everything that I had to say on the topic.
Okay. Well, I definitely thank you for taking time out your evening and chopping it up with me on my podcast. And for those who have tuned in tonight, if you are on Facebook, you can go to my private group. It is Be Salty. Definitely join the group, and join in on the conversations. We have daily conversations where we talk about different type of relationship goals and needs. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at _ Be Salty _ and on YouTube at The Real Be Salty. Also, folks, I do want to let y'all know that I do live podcasts as well. I'm having one coming up on July 29th, so be looking out for that that flyer. It's going to be a what do you call it? Save the date. The save the date is coming soon, and there will be a ticket for you to be able to purchase at a discounted rate. I look forward to all of you continuing to watch my podcast. I also look forward to all of you coming out to the live podcast. It's gonna be fire. It's my 1 year celebration, my 1 year anniversary. So I'm looking for everybody to come out. It's gonna be a dope celebration. So hey, yeah. As I always say, be salty, season the world. Bye.
Bye bye.